Welcome to Nicotine Academy podcast series by Chemnovatic. In today's episode, we will explore a topic that received strong interest during the recent UKVIA Forum 2025, how companies in the nicotine sector can strengthen trust, improve visibility of their responsible practices, and shape a better narrative around nicotine. And to help us unpack all of this, I have Weronika Wojcik with me. Let's revisit perspectives you mentioned in your recent talk, because it really helps make this complex topic easier to understand. Weronika, you gave a talk on that on UKVIA Forum. It's great to have you.
It's a pleasure to be here, Tomasz. So, it seems that within our industry, the approach to nicotine is fairly consistent. Most of us agree that a risk-proportionate framework is the right direction.
Right?
At the same time, I believe we could place more emphasis on two important perspectives, and these are the ones I recently presented at the UKVIA Forum.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Walk us through them.
Of course. First, we'll talk about what companies can do internally to show responsibility more clearly and how to communicate these actions externally. Second, we'll explore why changing the way we talk about nicotine can shift the entire public conversation. These two perspectives connect everything we'll discuss today.
Internal actions and external communication. Sounds like they connect everything.
Exactly.
All right, let's start with that first one then. You said in your talk that many companies are already doing the right things, but they often stay invisible. Is that right?
That's it exactly. Companies are pouring resources into compliance, safety, testing. But if this effort isn't clear, structured, and communicated in a transparent way, it doesn't build trust, even if it is excellent. That's why visibility is so important.
I couldn't agree more. How about we walk through the most important internal areas that companies should highlight? There are a few important elements, right?
Yes, there are 4 big ones to keep in mind. Let's start with the first one, compliance.
Compliance. It sounds a bit basic, but it's way more important than people think, isn't it?
Absolutely. Compliance is the baseline, but when it's visible and easy to verify, it becomes a real strength. Across the industry, many companies already do more than the legal minimum. This, among others, includes operating within established regulatory frameworks like EU REACH, UK REACH, and CLP-TPD, and backing it up with complete product documentation, TDS, MSDS, certificates of analysis, and detailed impurity profiles. That level of clarity gives business partners, regulators, and most importantly, consumers real confidence.
Compliance with the legal requirements seems like a must. But what about operational standards? You mentioned that many companies already go beyond legal requirements.
They do, but they rarely talk about it. These aren't just nice labels. ISO, EcoVadis, SEDEX, CDP, or companies' internal manufacturing standards, such as Chemnovatic's STC nicotine manufacturing standard, make these standards visible and credible. We should communicate that proudly because these standards are our strength. They exceed what is legally demanded and often exceed the manufacturing standards of other industries.
That's a huge point. And something we hear more and more across the industry is the importance of transparent actions.
Yes, transparency in sourcing, production, quality control standards, and testing is one of the strongest signals a company can send. And uncertainty is what kills trust. Transparency builds it, step by step.
Okay, what's the last piece of the internal puzzle? The responsible supply chain, right? Something most people outside of the industry probably never even consider.
Exactly. Understanding the supply chain means having clarity on the standards, sustainability, and traceability of raw materials manufacturing. It also means knowing the origin of every ingredient, the quality controls behind it, and the full chemical profiles that ensure nothing harmful is hidden inside. In our industry, this begins with 3 critical ingredients: nicotine, flavors, and additives. When the company's supply chain is clear and documented, it strengthens the credibility of the entire sector.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. So, with a strong internal foundation, let's move to that second perspective, the way we actually talk about nicotine. Why is this such an important part of the conversation?
Because all that responsible internal action is only half the story. It's becoming more and more difficult for our industry to be meaningfully included in public conversation. And when that happens, policies can easily become reactive or fragmented, not because anyone intends it, but because important perspectives were simply not there early enough.
Right, I see what you mean. And on top of that, many countries seem to lack a real long-term strategy for nicotine, which just throws more uncertainty into the mix.
Exactly. Without a clear framework, decisions can easily become unpredictable. Too often, policies are made not to minimize real issues, but because they offer short-term political comfort. And the reality is simple: nicotine is not going to disappear. People use it and will continue to use it.
So the question is, how do we manage that reality?
That is the question. As a society, we have to decide how to handle responsibly the fact that nicotine simply exists. And that's where clear, constructive, evidence-based communication becomes so important.
That brings us to something you highlighted during your conference talk, the approaches to nicotine. Maybe you could start by giving us a clear overview of what they are.
Of course. If we zoom out for a moment, 4 basic approaches seem to be clear. There's prohibition, which history shows only drives black markets and increases harm. Reactive avoidance, where decisions are made only after problems appear. A lack of differentiation, where nicotine products are treated the same, regardless of their risk profiles. And finally, risk-proportionate regulation, which recognizes products' differences and supports harm reduction.
The nicotine industry has a very consistent opinion about which approach is a proper one.
Well, when you compare them openly, it becomes hard not to conclude that some form of risk-proportionate regulation simply makes sense. Not because it benefits companies, but because it aligns responsible business practice with public health goals.
So why does it seem that our industry is not heard well enough in a public conversation?
I often get the impression that we tend to start by trying to convince others, instead of first listening to how they actually view nicotine. This won't solve every challenge we face, of course, but it seems far more productive to begin by laying out the possible approaches and simply asking others which one they follow and whether it includes a long-term perspective or clear consequences. Taking this one step back before moving into persuasion may help bring the discussion back onto a more constructive and meaningful track.
So it's more about creating space for laying down the possible approaches on nicotine as a starting point of discussion instead of delivering arguments in the very beginning.
That's exactly it. The challenge today is that policymakers don't always define their position, and sometimes, perhaps, our industry pushes its views too quickly. If we take a step back and openly outline the different approaches, we can work together to choose what truly serves the public interest.
This has been incredibly insightful. As we wrap up, could you revisit the key takeaways for our listeners?
To sum it up, a few points that really stand out. First, make compliance visible. Quality and procedures build trust when communicated clearly. Second, highlight operations that exceed legal requirements. Certifications are powerful credibility tools. Third, be transparent about your supply chain. Open information about responsible supply chain, sourcing, production, and testing removes doubt. And finally, when discussing nicotine, start by laying down the possible approaches, not with arguments. Calm, structured communication helps shape better policy and public understanding.
That's a fantastic summary. So the way each of us as companies operates already strengthens a responsible, reliable industry. The key is to make sure that this responsibility is visible.
Exactly. I believe that if we communicate better, high standards of our operations, and if we change the way we talk about nicotine, we have a real chance not only to improve the industry's image, but to regain our place in public conversation.
Thank you so much, Weronika. This was brilliant.
Thank you, Tomasz. I'm glad we could go through this topic together.
And to our listeners, thanks for tuning in to the Nicotine Academy podcast series by Chemnovatic. Feel free to subscribe, leave a comment, and contact us directly at sales@chemnovatic.com. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, take care and stay curious.